Today, we're doing a deep dive into webhooks and automated trading. We'll discuss how you can use webhooks to send order instructions to your XT add-on for execution in NinjaTrader 8. We're also going to share a sneak peek of a new tool to make automation via webhooks a breeze for everyone. By the end of this video, you should have a firm understanding of how you can leverage webhooks for your Ninja trading. A webhook is simply an HTTP request that allows you to send information from one software to another. You can think of it like an email. You craft a message and send it from one address to another. Now, sending a webhook is the easy part. The real challenge is what happens when it arrives. Someone has to build software that can receive that HTTP request, validate it's legitimate, parse the trading instructions, and execute them in NinjaTrader. That's the complex engineering problem CrossTrade solves. When you sign up for a CrossTrade account, you'll receive a webhook URL. This is like your home address and the place where you send your webhooks. To validate your requests, we also provide you with a secret key. Together, these two components will allow you to send external order instructions to your NT8. As you might have guessed, it's best to not share your key and webhook URL with anyone. To make NT8 run much faster, we decided to offload this charting to a web-based application like TradingView or any custom application and use NT8 for the execution only. By utilizing webhooks and the NinjaTrader framework, we can send our orders into the platform from any external trigger. This also opened the doors to being able to use other programming language like PineScript and the thousands of indicators and strategies in the TV community. All of this is made possible through our NinjaTrader add-on that we call XT. You can think of the add-on as a super sophisticated listening device. It's constantly waiting for your order instructions, and we've tuned it to be as fast as possible and process your instructions in around 30 milliseconds. For full transparency, it's important to note that CrossTrade has no control over the time it takes an alert to arrive or the time it takes to execute the order. Our role is to transfer the order instructions, and we do it as quickly as possible. If you're trying to run super scalping strategies, we'll be the first people to tell you that using two platforms and an execution middleware isn't the correct approach. For all normal trading strategies, there are thousands of traders who harness the power of CrossTrade and webhooks. Now that we have all of that out of the way, let's start with the basics. The place command lets you place an order. It requires at minimum that you specify the account, the instrument, the action, buy or sell to define the right direction, the quantity amount, the order type, and the time in force. These are the core requirements for placing an automated order into NinjaTrader 8. The best way to understand these commands and how you use them is to pretend you're asking NinjaTrader to do something. For example, let's say you just send a NinjaTrader the place command line but leave out everything else. Ninja would respond and say,
"Sure, I can place an order, but I need to know what account you want to use, what instrument, what direction, how many contracts, the type of order you want to use, and how long you want the request to be valid for."
Then you would respond and provide the missing details. If you think about these alert messages as a way to communicate information, it becomes a lot easier to understand why certain actions require certain criteria to be provided. As I mentioned before, we want to demo a new tool we have coming soon called the Automation Wizard. This makes crafting webhook payloads easy. Simply click through the steps 1 through 5, depending on if you want to automate an indicator or a strategy, and the command is built for you in real time. You can also simply copy and paste JSON here, and it will auto-convert it into a CrossTrade compatible command. This makes command construction much easier, and we're looking forward to releasing this tool in the near future. Place commands can be built on top of, and we're going to focus extensively on all the different ways you can customize the place command. Multi-account placement is simple. Just separate the accounts with a comma, and a single alert will flow into one account after another. You can consider this another form of trade copying. We also built in an account cycling feature, which works with the NT Account Manager tool and allows you to place orders into accounts only if the monitor is active. So if you have a series of accounts and one of them in the group has been stopped, the order is no longer placed and effectively cycled over. The takeaway with multi-account placement and account cycling is that whether you choose to use the trade copier with tandem mode or multi-account placement with account cycling, we have built ways for you to fully handle order placement into multiple accounts and control that order flow based on account state. When sending place commands, the instrument line needs to be a format that NinjaTrader can recognize. You can use hard-coded values like ES3-26 or ESMAR26, or if you're sending webhooks from TradingView, you can also leverage the continuous contract format, and CrossTrade will automatically convert this into the formatting preference you have saved on your NT8. This means that your alerts do not have to be continuously updated for contract rollover. Two important side notes on the instrument line. First, the chart or the trigger mechanism has no bearing on the instrument. You could trigger a signal from a gold chart and place an order in NASDAQ or silver. You're free to mix and match if you want. Second, the longhand CME contract formats are also supported, so no matter how you send the alert and from whatever chart or trigger you prefer, you can execute into NT8 seamlessly. Now let's cover using alerts to open bracket orders. You can open both one-sided and two-sided brackets around your entry using limits, and stop loss stop enhancements. Let's unpack bracket orders one step at a time because this will really take your alerts to the next level. If you wanted to open a two-sided bracket with a stop and target, you would add the stop loss line as well. And not if you wanted to use a limit order instead of a market order, you could change the order type to limit and specify your limit price with your take profit and stop loss bracket as well. If you feel the need to have your limit order cancel after a certain amount of time, add the limit order timeout enhancement, which is a time-based approach to canceling limits after a certain period of time after placement. This can be helpful to ensure your limits are not hanging out there for an extended period of time, which some strategies rely on. You can also add a stop loss limit to your payload using an example like this, which will set the level of the stop price that triggers the order for the stop loss limit price. As you can see, bracket orders can be mixed and matched in a way to give you a lot of flexibility to apply stops and targets through your CrossTrade alert payloads. Now, let's expand on this by covering the ways you can define price levels used when setting brackets. As I mentioned before, there are 4 options. Numerical price values for targeting specific price placement, percentage values for offsetting by percentage, tick values for offsetting by tick values per instrument, points if you prefer higher thresholds, and most recently, we introduced dollar-based placements. We've specifically designed the bracketing system to accept any variation of spelling and formatting to make life easy. If you visit the percentage and tick prices page of our help docs, you'll find more examples. To apply an ATM template to your place command, add the strategy line and the saved name of your ATM template. For example, if my ATM is saved as CrossTrade Webhook, then I would add it here like this. When using ATMs, it's important to ensure the name and quantity are a match between the alert payload and the saved template. If the name or quantity do not match, the ATM will not open. Strategy synchronization allows you to sync your TV strategy to your NinjaTrader account when you want to automate a TV strategy and ensure the NT account stays in sync with those actions. If they fall out of sync with one another, you have the ability to control the behavior. We have an entire video on the strategy sync logic you can watch to learn more. The sync logic has 4 main components you see here. These checks validate that the position state of the strategy and the account match. If they do not, you'll see an out of sync warning in your alert history. The strategy sync logic is very powerful, so check out that other video after this one for full details. If you're looking for a way to establish an alert level trading window, simply add a start and end time to your payload like this. In this example, if the alert arrives between 9:30 and 4 p.m., it'll pass on to NT8 for execution. If it arrives at 9:29 or 4:01, it would be blocked and not pass through. This is the alert-based approach to ensure alerts are executed only during a certain time window. You can also harness the trading windows in the account manager and establish global trading hours from your CrossTrade account. You can also bypass the trading window if you need to allow some alerts to flow through. This can be really helpful to ensure that a flattening alert does not potentially get blocked by a trading window of any kind. Moving on, let's now talk about require market position. This is your safeguard to ensure that your NT account block alerts when the market position, long, short, flat, doesn't match. Think of it as a way to check if the account is in the state it should be before the order is submitted. If you're expecting the account to be flat and it's not, then this enhancement will block that order and potentially prevent a situation you didn't expect. Similar to requiring market position, the max positions enhancement allows you to set a maximum amount of allowed positions per account. This can be used as an alert level control to ensure you stay within a certain maximum total position count at any one time and will block any signals that could extend your account beyond this threshold. Next, let's talk about the delay timer and rate limiting. The delay timer can be useful if multiple commands are being sent in rapid succession, but you want to offset one or more of the commands to allow time for processing. For example, if you have a custom alert situation where both a close position and a place alert are being sent roughly at the same time, and you want to avoid a race condition, you can inject a delay before the place order command gets executed. This will provide sufficient time for the close position command to execute before place. To add a delay timer to your payload, throw the delay line with a numerical value to represent the number of seconds you wish to delay. Now, let's talk about rate limiting. Some traders have issues with certain third-party services sending duplicate alerts in rapid succession, which can have catastrophic consequences. In response to this, we've created self-rate limiting, where the trader can dictate how often CrossTrade is allowed to evaluate similar commands. To use rate limiting, you simply have to provide a rate limit and ID identifier field to any alert message to track the message type. In this example, we set a rate limit of 1. By default, if the rate limit is a single number, it defines the number of requests allowed through CrossTrade every 1 minute or 60 seconds for that ID. So if 2 alerts show up within a few milliseconds of each other, the first one with that ID will be accepted and the second one will be blocked. Now that you understand placing orders, you'll also need to understand closing order commands. The basic command to close a position is, of course, the close position command. To use the close position command, you need to specify a minimum of the account and instrument. We have since expanded the basic functionality to give you more control and specify the quantity, which enables the ability to scale out of a position. You can do this with either a numerical or a percentage value. For example, let's say your place command opens a trade with 4 total contracts. Using either one of these examples, you would close 2 contracts or 50% of the total position. We built a custom place command called the flat place, which is a combination of a place command and a flattening action. This allows you to flatten any existing position prior to opening a new one. It's similar to an enhancement we built to flatten first, which can also be added to a place command payload. Flatten first was our first enhancement to solve a unique issue with pending orders being orphaned when you start sending place commands into Ninja without any guardrails. Flatten first works by simply flattening before placing, and this is particularly important and should be included when using an ATM strategy because it ensures that any existing ATM is closed completely before a new one is opened. In other words, this is your peace of mind safeguard to ensure you are always entering the market flat. One important note: flatten first will cancel open or pending orders in the account even if a position does not exist that can be flattened. Now let's talk about flattening positions. Again, we built on top of Ninja's default flatten everything option and introduced a simpler flatten command. The key difference here is that when you flatten everything, it is the nuclear option. Everything means everything, positions and orders across all accounts, whereas flatten provides more granular controls over what you flatten. With flatten, you have a much more powerful option to flatten specific positions for specific instruments in specific accounts. Next, let's talk about reverse and reverse position commands. Reverse positions is the standard NinjaTrader command to offset a position and requires all of the same fields a place command does. The reverse is a CrossTrade only enhancement command that is a true inversion of the position. Let's break down the nuance here. Reverse position assumes a position is already open and operates to close and execute a place command. If no position exists, do nothing. The required fields are the same as a place command, whereas the reverse command is a true inversion of the existing position. Because of this, we only require the account and instrument fields. For example, if you're long 4 contracts, the reverse command will flip your position to being short 4 contracts. The reverse position command would require you to specify this and would close the long position, then open a new position in the other direction. Moving on, we have a series of command types for canceling orders. The 2 default NinjaTrader commands are cancel and cancel all orders. We additionally built commands for cancel order and cancel and replace to fit specific use cases. Let's break down all 4 of these. The standard cancel command will cancel an order and requires an order ID value and/or an optional strategy ID value. It allows you to cancel an order if you provide some specifics on what order you want to cancel. In other words, this is your simple cancel command, but it's not very powerful. Next, we have the NinjaTrader counterpart to flatten everything, cancel all orders, which allows cancellation of all active orders across all accounts and broker connections. It's essentially a global cancellation without flattening any positions. To fill in the blanks here, we created cancel orders and cancel and replace. Cancel orders is similar to the flatten positions command and provides the option to either cancel all orders in an account or optionally cancel all orders in an account for a specific instrument. Cancel and replace is a combination of a cancel order and a place command that accepts similar parameters. The caveat is that the place command will only proceed if and only if the order exists and was successfully canceled. Now that we have covered the ways you can cancel orders, let's discuss how you can change orders using the change command. This command will change the parameters of a pending, unfilled order and requires an order ID value, optional price and quantity value, and an optional strategy ID value. This command is very customizable and can be used to change specific stops and targets if you provide specific order ID and strategy ID values. To establish alert blocking, we have a few options. In the XT control panel, we can set the master kill switch to block all alerts. Turning on the kill switch prevents CrossTrade from taking any action on any new alerts until the switch is turned off. You can also block alerts by using the NT account manager. But what if you want to toggle this kill switch in an automated way? We can toggle the master kill switch by setting kill switch on or kill switch off in a webhook message along with our key. As soon as the request has been processed, the master kill switch will be immediately engaged and will block all incoming alerts. Last but not least, we have two ways to stay organized using alert commenting and notes. Some traders like to place notes inside of alerts to remind themselves why they exist, which strategy they belong to, or any other reason. Alert comments allow you to add these notes inside of any alert. Any line starting with a double / will be stripped out prior to ingestion at CrossTrade. This means that you can add as many comments as needed without affecting the execution of your alert messages. The use case here is allowing the ability for multiple different tools to interpret the alert message at the same time. If you run a lot of strategies and like to stay organized, make sure you take good notes. Annotate alert messages with a notes field, and the text will show up in both the activity log on the NTA add-on and the alert history page. That covers all the different command types and enhancement options you can use to customize alert payloads between your external signal source and CrossTrade. If you need examples or want a single place to review all the different options, you can visit this page in our help docs that has an example of each command type and advanced option. If you made it to the end of the video, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to learn how the CrossTrade commands work and how you can leverage the XT add-on to place orders into your NinjaTrader from TradingView or any other external webhook source.